A funny thing happened as I began preparing this sermon earlier in the week. I thought I was going to talk about Mary's visitation to her cousin Elizabeth. I wanted to focus on this young teen who had found herself with child. While her faith was great that God was involved in this miracle of new life, her reaction to the news was to take off for the hills in haste, and for good reason. She was in danger of public censure, repudiation by Joseph, and possibly even stoning. Then the billboard went up. Suddenly, I could fully identify with Mary. For a moment, I thought of taking to the hills in haste myself. Stoning doesn't appeal to me any more than it did to her. But as you can see, Glenn and I are still here, still processing what has been an unprecedented week in our lives, in the life of St. Matthew's, and perhaps even Christmas itself. Who would have thought our little bit of irreverent Kiwi humor would have gotten such a reaction? Let me give you a little taste of what it means to go viral in an internet age. If you use the keywords St. Matthew, the +sign Billboard, +sign Christmas this morning, you will get 56,300 hits. And that's 5,000 more than yesterday morning. Glenn and I have lost count of the number of interviews we have done for newspapers, radio, TV, and online news sources from around the world. And they haven't stopped. From the time it went up until this morning, our website was visited by 20,322 people from 6 continents and 127 countries. Out of curiosity, I looked up Italy. There have been 101 visits. I'm wondering if one of them's the Pope. And it isn't slowing down much. Our podcast, iGod, has jumped to 2nd in its category and 109 overall out of the thousands on the site. I personally have received over 600 emails and counting, and I'm sure Glenn has received many more. Now, mine have run the gamut from pretty abusive to harshly critical to gently remonstrative to stunningly pleased to outright laudatory. I was relieved that there were more supportive ones than ones questioning my mother's marital status when I was born. Then there have been the many phone calls and texts that Glenn, the entire staff team, and I have had to field. In this day and age, there are way too many ways to communicate with someone. But whether or not people appreciated our approach, one thing is certain. For a big part of the planet, people have been discussing Christmas outside the frame of Santa and shopping. And I dare say they now know about St. Matthew in the city and progressive Christianity. So Glenn and I have decided we need to take some time this morning to reflect with you on the experience. Certainly, we are not the only ones here this has impacted. We imagine that you have not been able to escape the fact that you worship here with your family and friends or coworkers. So we will open this up to you as well to share your experiences and reflections. So I'm going to come down from on high, join Glenn down here, and Glenn has had a great deal of practice in interviews, but he hasn't had one in about 12 hours, so he doesn't lose his groove. I'm going to interview him. And then I'm going to share a few comments of my own. And then we're going to invite you to come forward. Now, normally we'd take the mic out to you, but this is going to go on the web. So we don't want you to be nervous that somehow your image will be up there against your will. So we'll ask you if you'd like to make some comments or ask questions or whatever to come forward to us when that time comes. So we